All right, so we're here with Orlando Mendez, the Cuban Cowboy. What's going on, man?
How are you, Erik? I'm good, brother, man. Just hanging out here in Nashville in the midst of recording music, releasing music, and living the dream out here, man.
That's the life. That's the life. Thank you for joining us, man.
Of
Really
course.
appreciate it.
No, this is an honor, man. This is an honor to be on with you guys. So thank
Cool.
you.
So it's not every day that we have a country singer from Miami, you know, and a Cuban Cowboy at that. So how did country music become like your thing? Your voice, right? It's like that's your art form now. You were a theater major in college.
Yeah.
But then how did country music come into play there?
So I remember finding country music around, middle school age, kind of in those teenage years. I had a girlfriend at that time who liked country music, and I remember she kind of introduced me to that world. And it was really Darius Rucker who got me into it because I grew up listening to my dad's music and only want to be with you every time the Dolphins lose.
Dolphins make me cry, yeah.
The Dolphins make me cry. We'd sing it as a family, and so I remember making that connection one day, listening to a Darius Rucker song. Like I've heard this voice before, and I remember what song it was. It was called "Comeback Song" by Darius Rucker. And I was like, man, I dig this song, but I dig this voice, and I know this guy. Do a little Google search, make the connection. That's Hootie from Hootie and the Blowfish. And then I started going through his catalog, man. And it was kind of like just a gateway there. Darius Rucker. Then I found Dirk Bentley, Blake Shelton, all those guys who influenced me. I loved the stories in their lyrics. I loved the melodies they were using. There's something about country music just kind of lit a fire in me, and it was all I listened to throughout throughout my high school years. Got me
Well, and
through
then
college.
you went to Gainesville, so you got
Yeah,
plenty of
and
country
then
there.
and then later on, I've seen life's got a funny way of working out. Now I'm singing
Yeah.
country music for a living. So
So before we go any further into this country music talk, what are you smoking there? I see you've got a
this is
Liga,
a little Liga Privada here.
the H99.
It's
Wow,
99.
that's a great smoke. We had that in our top 25 when that first came out. I think it was like number three or something like that. It was very, very
No,
good
it's
smoke.
delicious, delicious. Picked it up at a store here yesterday, and
So
first
I've
time.
got the Aganorsa Leaf Rare Leaf Reserve Maduro.
Nice.
Uh, we like everything that Aganorsa makes, and this, if you get a chance to smoke this one, very, very good.
I've
So
never smoked. I've never smoked an Ayanosa.
no,
No.
it's
No.
they're incredible cigar makers. Well, they're massive growers, so they
Mhm.
have great tobacco. In fact, their logo is our leaf is our strength, which is
Mm.
why they always have that little
Nice.
you know. So anyway, so the show that wraps around this interview, we're smoking this cigar. So that's why I'm smoking it. So so back to country. So you fall in love with country through the gateway of Darius Rucker, which is pretty funny. And then how do you go from so you just started playing country, you just started trying to mimic the songs and play them yourself and then eventually write your own? How did that go?
Yeah, it's kind of how that happened. I mean, I came out of you mentioned before I was a theater major in college. I was acting for a while. Back then pre-COVID, I was going back and forth after I graduated from New York to Miami auditioning plays. I was in Amparo.
Oh, you were?
I was in the last few months of Amparo
Oh, no
uh,
kidding.
as the role of Jorge, taking over for the great Robbie Ramos there. And yeah, doing the acting thing, life was great. COVID hit, obviously shut down that whole industry. I had a lot of time on my hands, and I was like, man, it's time for me to pick up the guitar. I love country music. I love listening. I love singing it, but it's time for me to learn how to play. Started playing guitar, started learning all these, classic country covers, songs that I love. And I've always had a passion for poetry, always had a passion for story. It's like, it's time, let me try to write my own country music, just kind of mimicking those sounds, mimicking the chords and the melodies. And I found my footing, man. I found my footing in the world of country music and just telling stories about my life and those around me
That's crazy. So you actually didn't know how to play the guitar till COVID?
through COVID.
Wow. A lot of people
Taught
learned how
myself,
to bake. A lot of people baked and did all
yeah,
that learned languages. You learned how to play the guitar.
taught myself on YouTube.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, that's incredible. So so then So how do you go from, messing around with the guitar to being on The Voice? So you had a band, right? The Orlando Mendez band.
Yeah, we had a band. I started out actually as a duo, me and a buddy of mine from elementary school. We went to elementary. I went to a Florida Christian school as a K through 12. So I went to elementary school, middle school, and then a piece of high school with this guy named Chris Ortega, great guitar player. We started, as things slowly started to open up in Miami, we started doing duo gigs, him and I, both of us on guitar. It started in like in the front of, in the back of Pub Grill, in the front of Scully's, like parking lot parties. At,
Wow.
excuse me. And then kind of grew to bigger things. And then I started this band. He went on to do his own thing. I found three musicians from the University of Miami, who is still my band to this day. We started playing down in the Keys, in Miami, places in Broward. Started the Orlando Mendez band, which is like a little country band hit there in South Florida.
Wow, man. So then, you go on The Voice. Obviously, on The Voice, you go as a solo.
Yeah. So the voice
So how
thing
did
was
that
funny,
happen?
man. Yeah, the voice thing was funny, man. It was 2022. I was, we were playing all these shows and stuff. I had seen open calls for The Voice a couple times just through casting networks, right? I was an actor before, so I still got all the casting notices. Never thought anything of it. I was like, I don't really want to do that. I had a friend of mine one day from the gym come up to me like, hey, I saw this email to audition for The Voice. I think you should do it. I was like, man, I don't want to. That's not me. I don't want to do reality TV, bro. I'm not interested. And he was like, well, I think you're crazy not to do it. And if you don't sign up, I'm going to sign you up. And I was like, all right, bro, I'll do the virtual audition. We'll see how this goes. And that virtual audition, like 4 or 5 online rounds later, and they flew me out to LA for the big blind audition.
That's awesome, man. And so you sang, not originals, right? Oh, you sang covers.
Covers, yeah,
Right?
covers.
Like nobody really sings original music on a show like that, right?
Yeah, you're not allowed. Yeah, it's
So you're
all
not even allowed.
covers.
Okay,
You're
okay.
not even allowed.
All right, that makes sense. So then what'd you sing? What was the first song you sang?
The first song was "Beer Never Broke My Heart" by Luke Combs. That's the
That's
first
good.
song I sang on there, and yeah, you can still find it on YouTube. That was, I say it to this day, but that was the most surreal moment of my life, man. Like I
Yeah.
just we had spent 3 or 4 weeks in LA in preparation for the audition, rehearsing, interviewing, doing all these things for TV, and I was around 99 other people who were given this chance to blind audition, some incredible talents. And so I was just like, man, I want one chair to turn. I just want to go on this stage and not completely be disappointed. I just want one chair to turn. I was
Yeah,
praying
in
for
uh
that,
in
man.
Cuban domino parlance, that would be I don't want a pollona.
I right, no pollona,
Yeah,
please.
no sweep. Give me at
Right,
least one chair.
just one, just un juego,
Yeah,
just one game.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and bro, to get 4 chairs to turn around was the most surreal moment of my life. I never planned on that, never thought about it. It was my, a huge blessing, man.
So did you have a strategy coming in, like if Blake turns around, then or if because it ended up being kind of tough, right? You had to choose between Blake Shelton and Camila Cabello, fellow Cuban.
Yeah.
So what do how did you strategize about that beforehand, or was it just like at the moment?
No, I did, man. You play all these scenarios out in your
Yeah.
head, and so I spent those weeks. It was weeks just thinking about who's, if this person turns, I'm going with them, or if it's a battle between these two. And I could have told you to the second I walked on that stage, I was gonna pick Blake Shelton. I was convinced of it. Um, and then the producers started telling me, "Hey, listen, we got Camila Cabello on here. It might be her only season. She's from, she's Cuban, from Miami, from the same neighborhood as you. You might want to think about it." And then having her there fight for me and wanting me on her team and just feeling like this was like a hometown
Yeah,
person like me. That's kind of what swayed me there in the moment.
that's cool. And so what did like how much do they actually help you? Like when she becomes your coach, What does that
Well,
look like? Because they also have careers of their own and they're doing things. So how much time do they actually spend with you coaching you? Is that how real is that?
Um, it's probably less time than you think, to be honest. We saw them a couple times. Some of them sometimes on TV, maybe once or twice without. But they, like you said, they're busy people.
Yeah.
They're running their own careers. They come to film the show and then go off and do something for them and tour or studio time or whatever it might be, and then come back and coaches. But she was really gracious. I mean, with her time we spent a lot of rehearsals together, and she had some great advice, honestly.
What's the one thing that she told you that stayed with you?
She was the one who to first get me to embrace my falsetto voice. So when you're singing, you have like your main register, your main chest voice. It's kind of what you know, most people's sweet spot.
Yeah.
And then you usually have this higher register that you kick into, that some people are incredible at it, like, Sam Smith or a Michael Jackson, or and I never really embraced that because I didn't think I was good at it. And she was like, "Man, let me tell you what, you have it, and you should embrace it. Use it as a tool, and don't be afraid of it." And man, I've been using it ever since, and kind of trying to strengthen it and get better in that area.
That's cool. So so then you're an independently funded artist, right? So you're not with a label. What is that, what does that look like? If there's some cigar smoker out there who wants to follow in the Orlando footsteps, what does that look like as an independent artist, Like how are you able to get your stuff on Spotify, or do you do it through SoundCloud? Like what is it? What does that look like?
Yeah, man, it's tough. It's gotten easier with the world of social media and with independent distributors. Right now, I go through DistroKid, so pretty much you can just start a profile on there and put your music right to Spotify, Apple Music, and all of that. Not having a label, there's challenges that come with it because obviously you're competing against all the artists, independent artists like you, but you're also competing against all the label artists if you really want to for the same audience. And it takes resources, it takes money, it takes dedication. But it's possible. We've been making it happen for a year now. This year's looking great. I've had the big blessing of being invested by certain people, to allow me to record music and release music. My parents have been pivotal. A man by the name of Wade McGuinn out from South Carolina has been pivotal in helping me fund some of this stuff. And you know, for that I'm gracious and looking for the next partners as well. So
Cool, man. You so after The Voice, you leave Miami and you move to Nashville, right?
yeah.
That the chronological order? So you moved to Nashville. Are you out there solo? What is that?
So I moved here with my girlfriend, with my brother, and with my band. And so it was cool to have a little support and a little bit of back home up here. I think it would have been a
Sure.
lot tougher without their support. Through this year for
Yeah,
sure.
no kidding. So your band is out there, your brother's out there, and your girlfriend's out. That's yeah. So obviously your parents and the rest of your extended family is what you miss most from Miami, I imagine.
Absolutely, 100%.
But what else do you miss about Miami? About not being in Miami? I mean, Miami, Nashville, I mean, Nashville's a big city, but Miami is this unique place. And so what do you miss the most other than the family?
It's really unique, and I think you don't truly appreciate its uniqueness and all it has to offer until you leave. And so there's a laundry list of things I miss. Obviously, my family's number one, like you said, but I never realized how much I love the ocean and being by the ocean and how much it grounds me until I'm over here landlocked in Nashville.
Yeah.
So this last year, not having that air, that breeze, not having the ocean at my disposal has been a challenge. But it's why I write a lot um, about the ocean, about back home, about the beach, because it's what I know. So definitely that. I miss the food, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah,
The food, you can't find food like that up here. It just doesn't
I,
happen.
I can imagine. What was
And
your, give me one restaurant that you particularly miss?
oh man, I miss there's a few, but you can't find wings like you find in Miami. I miss Cake South. I miss Poe
Okay.
Grill, uh Sports Grill, a couple those places where you get them good those good wings. They don't make them like that up here.
Really? That's interesting. I didn't think you were gonna say wings. I thought you were gonna miss like Cuban bakeries, pastelitos and
Well, listen, not having Pinecrest Bakery by my house, that's tough too. That's
yeah.
really tough. And every time I go home, my first stop is Pinecrest Bakery to get a cafecito. I get two croquetas de la casa and I get tequeño every time I go home.
Yep, I get that. So yeah, when I was young, I moved to New York and I didn't like you, I didn't realize how much I missed certain parts of Miami or just the Cuban culture.
Yeah.
Remember I would at home I would as soon as I would walk in New York, I would play I had Benny Moré CDs and back then you would listen to CDs.
Yeah.
And so I would have Cuban music on every day in my apartment because I missed it, and so that gave me a little bit of home. Uh, is there something like that that you've been able to transport to Nashville other than your girlfriend and your brother and your band? Is there something else that is in your daily routine that connects you to home?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of it is music. I have a playlist that I'm always playing that's got salsa on it, that's got a lot of the sounds from back home. And I'll hit that usually once a day.
Yeah.
uh, or a few times a week whenever I need to remember home and where I come from.
So speaking of home and where you come from, your newest track that you're working on, and I imagine will probably be out by the time this is out, at least in print. Maybe this will be faster on the podcast, but is that Motherland? That's how I first heard of you. My brother actually turned me on to it, and so tell us about that song.
Yeah, Motherland is special song to my heart. It's one of the first songs I ever wrote, believe it or not, but it's the story of my family and where we come from, the story of my connection to Cuba. Although I've never been there, I was born in Miami, never been to Cuba, but it's a it's an adopted love, right? It's like a second hand love because the people, all the people that I love that are the closest to my heart, all come from that land that I've never been to, and it kind of makes me who I am, and that's what that song says. It's a real Cuban American experience, that song, and I'm excited to get it out because I believe there's a lot of people like me who feel that way and who need a song like that.
Yeah, of course. I think that's it is again like Miami. It's very unique. I think that Cuban American sentiment is a very unique one. There's a difference between immigrants and exiles, right?
Mm-hmm.
An exile still has a longing for home because he was, in some way or other pushed out of his home, as opposed to an immigrant who says, "Okay, um, I'm done with this. I want to go find
Mm-hmm.
opportunity here." When it's different, like in the Cuban experience, where it's you're looking for freedom. Freedom is an essential element of life. Uh, it's different. It's a different kind of longing for home, and
Yeah,
so it's cool that you're able to work that into a song because then the sons and daughters of exiles
yeah,
have this different feeling that sons and daughters of immigrants don't have.
don't
So
have.
it's a unique thing that is a very Cuban American thing. Um, Also, other cultures that have exiled for similar reasons will be able uh, to relate to that song a lot. So that's really cool. Uh, yeah, I can't wait for other people to hear it.
Yeah,
So
no, it's also a song to honor my grandparents and the sacrifice that they made so that I can be here today. a Cuban American kid from Miami trying to make it in the world of country music. It's a wild dream, but it's an American dream, and I only have that opportunity because of the sacrifices that were made for me a long time ago by, the people who mean the most to me. So
Yeah, some very brave people, right?
absolutely.
Because I mean, it is the definition of courage and bravery, right? To just jump into the abyss. So would you want to play a tiny bit of it or no?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so yeah, let's hear a little bit of Motherland. Orlando Mendez, Motherland. Here we go.
It goes. I'm sitting here drinking at the southernmost tip down in the Florida Key. About to take my last rum-filled sip. Suddenly it came to me. I looked out across the ocean to see if I could see the island where I came from. That's still a part of me. And sure, I ain't never been there. I ain't never touched that sand. But it's where my family came from. And it makes me who I am. This deep-rooted connection. At times I don't understand. But as I'm sitting here right now, I'll tell you, man, there's only 90 miles and a cigar in my hand between me and the motherland.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
That's amazing. I love that. I think our audience will probably love that last line there with a cigar in my hand, right? So that's a perfect segue into how did you get into cigars?
My first cigar was I remember it was a Romeo Julieta. I was probably under cigar smoking age, if we're going to be honest. But I remember one of my birthdays, my godfather bought me a Romeo Julieta. He wanted that to be, my first, my first cigar smoke experience to be with him. And so I smoked one with him. But probably my most special cigar experience is watching my grandfather roll cigars as a kid. He would roll his own cigars. They were tobacco farmers back in Cuba, so he didn't do that here for a living, but he still had a passion for rolling. And I remember from a young age, like watching him roll cigars all throughout.
Wow. You know what part of Cuba they were from?
They were from gosh, I'm not remembering the
So
region
they were
now.
tobacco growers. They were either from, most likely, Pinar del Rio.
They're from Pinar, yeah.
Or Santa Clara, Villa Clara area.
Yeah. Yeah, they had acres. I think it was 400 plus acres that they were growing on.
Very cool. So then what's your go-to cigar right now? What do you
I've been smoking. Well, this Liga's pretty good, but I've been smoking Plasencias quite a bit. My go-to celebration cigar, though, which my grandfather was a big fan of Padron cigars as well. So my go-to celebration cigar is a Padron 1926.
Nice. So what kind of celebratory moment, do you have sort of in your sights for this year that would warrant a 1926?
There's a few in my sights for this year. I think one of them would be releasing a song that gets over 1 million streams. I think that's coming this year. I really do believe that's coming. We're getting there. Another would be when I play the Opry. I hope that happens soon as well. But yeah, just a couple moments. I'm also planning an album release this year. So after I release my album, I'll definitely have a little 1926.
Yeah, no kidding. When you were in Miami, what was your favorite cigar hangout when you were here?
Yeah, probably Galliano Cigar Room.
Yeah,
it's probably my favorite. Good friends with the owner Ozzy, and I played Galliano's. I played his new Spots Tabacón. So
that's cool. We have to get you out to. They're opening a new Tabacón in Plantation.
And Plantation, yeah.
So that's going to be opening soon. So we have to make sure we get a little crowd out there to watch you play. So,
For
and
sure.
so what about now in Nashville? What's your spot up there, other than the back patio that you're smoking right now?
Yeah, this is this is kind of, my backyard, but I'm still trying to find my honey hole here. I went to this place yesterday called Nashville Cigars, which is really nice. Um, and then the one we were talking about before,
Casa de Montecristo.
Casa Montecristo, that I've been to in the Gulch. So I'm still trying to find my spot. But those are two good locations that I buy
Yeah,
from.
can't go wrong with Casa de Montecristo ever. I don't know how far that is from you, but those are great spots. Nashville Cigar is good. Um, yeah, there's some neighborhood spots there in Nashville that are good too. Um, we did a travel story out there a few years ago. I think we're gonna probably need to update that piece and kind of, you know, give you a whole new set of places
For sure.
once we get our editors to do all the research. You know, we talk to all the uh, before we go out to one of these spots, we'll talk to all the reps for a handful or close to 10 cigar companies to try to get a good sense of, all right, what are the best accounts for you guys in these places? And then we'll go visit them and write about it. So
That's awesome.
we're gonna probably have to include Nashville pretty soon. So
Well, let me know when you guys are up here, man. I would love to. I would love to
yeah,
be a part of that.
for sure. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. In fact, every time we do one of those stories, we have what we call a Sherpa, you know, that kind of guides us through their
Yeah,
hometown. So even though we may be introducing new cigar places to you, but you'll take us to your favorite restaurant in town or stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
That'd
we'll
be
do that.
awesome. That would be awesome, man. I'd be honored.
We'll do that. All right, cool, man. Well, thank you again. Thank you very much. That's Orlando Mendez. How can people find you online? I know you're on Spotify,
Yeah,
but what else? How else can they find you?
yeah. So all streaming services under Orlando Mendez, on Instagram at Orlando, the letter J for Jose. That's my middle name. Orlando J Mendez Music on Instagram. TikTok, same thing. Orlando J Mendez Music. You can find me on Facebook, and you can find me at my website, orlandomendezmusic.com.
Cool, man. Well,
I
thank
have
you again. Look forward to the release of Motherland, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Erik. This is awesome, bro. Appreciate you.
All right, man. No problem. All right, thanks for watching Cigar Snob on YouTube. If you enjoyed that, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to check out more of our content, go to the channel and you'll see mail time videos, podcasts, interviews with cigar insiders, and photo shoots with smoking hot models. And if you want even more Cigar Snob in your life, we will print a magazine and ship it straight to your house. It's a crazy idea, I know, but we're trying this out. Cigarsnob.com to do that. And otherwise, we'll see you later.